Welcome everybody to Releasing 100. My name is Liza Magcale and I'm your host for today, talking about releasing 100, whether it's pounds, concepts that we're looking at in order to do that, and discussing tools. With me today, the lovely Nana Jokura, author, abundance mentor, and author of this book right here, Your Healthy Success, #1 international bestseller, landed on my lap this summer, and was very excited to have Nana on. So welcome, Nana.
Thank you, Lisa. I love being here. This is so great.
Awesome. So I'm going to jump right into it and really talk about the synergies between this Releasing 100 and Your Healthy Success. When I read this over the summer, I thought if I wrote a book, it would have all of these concepts, because these are the things that really have been foundational to my mindset to get me to where I am today. And so for those of you who don't know, I'm down a total of 65. I probably have another 65 to go. And now we're really turning up the information flow. And Nana's book did such a great job of talking about all of the things, especially related to mindset, of getting me into this zone of being able to really make some healthier choices. So Nana, your book, like, tell me, I learned so much about you in this book. We've got some similarities with our mothers. We were both, parents to young girls. Tell us a little bit about yourself and how this book came to be and how Your Healthy Success came to be.
For sure. Well, I will say just up front, there was no reason for me to write this book. It came as a divine download. I was sitting, watching one of my mentors speak, and just something about what she was saying resonated so deeply that I knew, okay, now's the time. And it felt like, okay, this baby is coming and I've just got to birth this thing. So I had known that I was going to write a book. I just didn't realize it was going to be this soon. And I had my mom pass when she was 54 years old, almost 20 years ago. And she was really the inspiration and catalyst for me to get into health and well-being, for me to really pursue a career as a naturopathic doctor then, which I loved. I was in clinical practice for several years, loved my amazing patients and clients. And I just felt like if I could help other people live well, then the lesson that I learned from my mom's life and her passing would just have so much more meaning. I feel like I would be paying it forward. And that is that if we don't have our health and well-being, then there's really not much that we can do to live out our purpose, to live out our mission, to be who we're meant to be in this earthly plane, right? So I believe we're spiritual beings having a physical experience, and we have, every single one of us, you have your own amazing, unique gifts. Your listeners do, I do. So it's about making sure that the temple of our body is really kept in great working order. And that really starts with the mind. So I've combined the general principles of naturopathic medicine on living well, and also what I've learned since then about the power of the mind and how important it is to be living our purpose. So if we are living our purpose, we're much more likely to be healthy and well and wealthy. And when we are healthy, we're much more likely to be able to live out our purpose. So and I include health and well-being in all aspects, right? Our physical well-being, our relationship well-being, our emotional, mental well-being, and of course our financial well-being as well. So.
Well, thank you for explaining that this was always in the plans, not necessarily in the timing that you chose. There was a divine intervention, and that it is coming from really a truly authentic place. So one of the things that we have in common is both of our parents got sick, terminally ill, and it did have a profound impact in our way of operating and in our mindset. And so I love how you start with inner work. and the inner work that's required to have that understanding. Somebody asked me last week, like, how did you make the shift from last year to this year? And I said very simply, it was the food, right? So this external thing. And another friend of mine was very quick to remind me, it wasn't just the food. You did a lot of internal work, a lot of work relating to the relationship with your mother, or the one that you didn't have, and you went really, really, really deep. So talk to us about the inner working part of your book, and then we can go from there, because I think it's really important to look at what are those components, and what can the listeners take away from, in terms, like, to start thinking about the inner components that are really going to have an external benefit called health.
Yeah, well, just as you were speaking about working through those themes with, connected with your mother, uh, I'll just outline some of the big daily power disciplines, being when someone is eating well, moving well, sleeping well, eliminating well, loving well, treating their mind well, they're pretty much well. And in the chapter on eliminating well, yes, we have organs of elimination, right? Our bowels, our skin, our lungs. And when we eliminate things from our lives, maybe it's old clothes that you never wear, to patterns that don't serve you, patterns of thought or reactive patterns and dynamics in relationship that you hold, whether they're with people who are here with us or who passed on. When you release those things, it really can have such a profound impact on your overall physical state, which I find really interesting. And I saw it over and over and over with my patients when I was working with them. So in terms of the inner and outer work, it's the connection, it's the combination of the two, right? Because you have some people who might be on meditation pillows for hours, yet never walk out their front door to really get into the inspired action to take. And then there are people who spin their wheels and they go into massive 10 times action, and then they're burning out. They're like, what gives? I'm doing all this activity and nothing is shifting with my health or finances or whatever it is. So it's the combination. So we start off with the inner work, we lay the groundwork, so that you decide on what kind of a life you want to live, right? And I believe that we've got to start there, because then things like, if it's releasing the 100, or if it's another goal that you have with your health and well-being, or any area of your life, your business or relationships, if you're not anchored into your why and your purpose and the greater vision, then it's this superficial attempt at it, right? Because then when you have these deeper roots of what is really driving you, it's not external motivation, it's internal, deep inspiration that comes from deep within you, that this is your fuller expression of living, then you're going to gain some traction. Then when you have obstacles or challenges, or it feels like there's some resistance, or you have moments where you're dipping or whatever it is, you will have what it takes to get yourself through that, which is way beyond, oh, well, I've just got to do it because I've got to like will it, and like force myself to do it. Well, you want to be in touch with that inner driver.
Get it. You went into the outer work, and so I love that the correlation between your purpose is really going to almost create a synergistic relationship and create profound results, even more than what you thought. I mean, I have experienced that multiple times, just the willingness to do the work and to surrender to the inner parts. The external results have been phenomenal, right? So it may look like it's happening so fast. However, the lay work, I mean, nobody knows what that's really like. So you've already touched on the outer work. Is there anything that you want to say in relation to that before we go into the daily power disciplines that you talked to about the body work? Because again, they're all correlated. We definitely want to touch in on all of them, but the body is a big part of that. I think the one quote that has stuck with me, I think very early on in entrepreneurship, is health is first wealth, right? And so as I, started to age and get into, I guess, what other people call midlife,
Mhm.
um, and then my daughter was getting older, I wanted to make sure I could keep up with her,
Yeah.
right? Like her physical capacity cannot exceed mine at a minor age. So whatever the reason is why, let's talk a little bit about the power disciplines. And again, I so strongly agree with all of your principles that you spoke about, from sleep to nutrition to activity
Mhm.
to elimination. I mean,
Yeah.
I could not have written a better book. So
Oh, you're
let's
so
talk about,
kind.
let's talk about it. I think
Yeah.
you covered all of the things that at some point or another I intend to interview experts, because there's so much information out there, and some of it is outdated and some of it is not relevant, and then there's this
Mhm.
concept that I believe that everything is customizable to the person. Like
Yeah.
not everybody is cookie cutter, and yes, there are guidelines. So let's talk about what your power principles are as it relates to our human form.
Yeah, and so the actually in the book, the part before we get into the details of the power disciplines, I like to set people up with the best tools for success, really, right? So we actually want to bring some more order to your mind and your life. So whether that means like clearing out your office so there's more order, or your desktop, and when you get a picture of that order or your health and well-being, the image first starts in the mind and then you execute it in the physical form. So that's something you've got to decide for yourself, right? You've got to make that committed decision that this is how you're going to operate. Because if that's not there, then sure, I can talk about daily power disciplines all day long and you're not going to do it because you haven't even made the decision for yourself, right? That decision that you are going to embody this new self-image, and that self-image comes from the inside out. um, Accountability, a mentor who's going to really help you guide you through the process, because there will be dips, there will be things that you're facing that frankly a lot of people just suppress or run away from or want to ignore, that if you don't have the courage to face them and be supported in that, oftentimes just goes back to you going back to the comfort zone, right? And we all know about the comfort zone. It's kind of feels kind of nice temporarily, but it's not going to really do anything for your life, right? It's not going to, we're meant to grow and stretch and become better. So with that committed decision, like you've got to face whatever the fear is that's coming up. And there will be that, like the thought of changing your well-being and body into a new healthier one, that for a lot of people will bring up some fears, like, oh my gosh, what are you going to have to give up, right? You might not have loved it, but at least you know that, right? You know what you'll be giving up, and you might not actually know exactly what you're moving into, and that piece can feel scary, and it's important to move forward despite that. And that's what separates the people who are successful at attaining anything that's worthy of them. So okay, so daily power discipline. So basically, if you're moving well, eating well, sleeping well, eliminating well, treating your mind well, really loving well, which goes into self-love first and then love to others, breathing well, treating your mind well, you're pretty much well. So that's what I found, is that patients would come into my office, and the more complicated their case, the more they were on all kinds of medications and supplements, like just complicated, right? The simpler I got with them, the better it was for everybody. And so I actually don't make any kind of recommendations of this is what you should eat, because there's a lot of trends that happen, and really what we cover is the core principles of that, right? Like chew your, like, it's going to sound ridiculously simple, right? But chew your food, sit down, be mindful of the scents and the textures, and plug into intuitive eating, because then you're listening to your body and understanding what feels good for you to eat. And there's a difference between, oh, I just want that sugar hit, and oh, my body is saying that it's craving whatever it is, and getting that temporary fix versus something that really feels good. So you'll know it, you'll know something is good for you, because afterwards you're going to feel more energized. It'll be an even energy. It's not like this spike and then this crash and burn that happens, right? So this is you developing a deeper relationship with you and the connection to whether it's food or movement or all of it, really. So the idea is that I believe there's so much emphasis on the mind in terms of the work that I do. It's worth over 95% of where your results come from is your mindset, and then less than 5% is strategy and the mechanics. So we've got to keep that going. So I recommend that people start with, in addition to their mindset, treating their mind well, one other daily power discipline. So you could kind of take inventory, right? And this is what I would guide my clients through in the program is, let's take stock of where you are with all of these daily power disciplines, the basics, and then what area, if you really invested in that and developed that, would give you the best results right away. For a lot of people, if they're not already in the habit of moving, that can be really invigorating, energizing, leads to focus. It can start to shift the metabolism. It can improve sleep, right? It can just bring joy and greater mood. So that's often one that if my clients haven't started on that one, that's a nice place to start, but you don't have to. So you just pick one, get that plate spinning, like really get it spinning to the point where you're going to go through like the initial enthusiasm about it. You're starting something new, and then there might be a bit of resistance because you're overcoming some old patterns, and then you're going to go through a phase where, okay, I'm enjoying, I'm getting some positive feedback, and then you're going to go through this phase where you're actually craving it. Like, it's easier for you to do it than to not do it, right? And then when you start to get into that sweet spot where it's automatic, that's when you know that plate is spinning. So then for you to just keep it going, it's just, have you seen those people at those parties? They have that long stick and they spin those plates. So that's going, they get someone in the audience to hold it. Great, it's going. And then it just takes a little tap to keep it spinning, right? It's not going to take that same effort in the beginning. So then you can move on to the next daily power discipline, right? So if someone takes 30, 60, maybe 90 days to establish one, then over the course of a year, you could really establish like 4 to 12 daily power disciplines. So you just stack it one at a time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also believe in scaffolding, whether it be in business, even with this, Releasing 100 program, very similar approach whereby we'll look at almost the same principles, Nana, right? And it's like, okay, which one is going to make the most impact? I think eliminating certain foods that are not going to do well or do you well is probably the first thing that I want people to do when they say that they're committed to doing this. And I really loved how you tied in the committed decision. I don't know if you want to recap that really quick, because I know you have a very specific distinction with what a committed decision is. And for me, it's, either you're in or you're out. There's no, if you're out, then I don't really have time. Call me when you're ready. But if you're in, then this is what in looks like, right? It looks like accountability calls. It looks like checking in. It looks like you got to pay attention to this one area or two areas that you've committed to doing and be prepared.
Yeah.
So what is a committed decision in your healthy success?
Yeah. So I love it. One of my mentors says that you show commitment in two ways, with your money and your time, right? Is it in your calendar? Are you doing it? And have you invested? in it. So um, it's very different than just writing it down on a list or in your mind and thinking, oh, I've decided to do that. No, you haven't, unless you've really like, you've gone, you've gotten into some action to do that. So um, it's just, it's irrevocable. It's a committed decision. Most people don't make committed decisions, right? So what I've seen is transformations in my clients where when they do make that committed decision, what it does is it gives them such a huge boost in their self-esteem, their self-image, their confidence, because maybe for the first time ever, instead of saying, oh yeah, well, I'll do that, I'm going to help other people, and then I'm coming last on the list if I even get to myself at all. Yeah, I want to do that, I know I should and I could and I want to, right? It's sort of like sort of wishful thinking. It's a committed decision. And for some people, for the first time ever, they're finally keeping promises to themselves, right? That's totally different than, oh, I've written it down, it's on my resolution list or whatever it is, right? So um it's a very different energy, very different intensity and commitment to that.
Yeah. So just to recap, it's time and money.
Yeah.
Time and money. Where are you putting your time and where are you investing your money?
That, you know, where attention flows. So yeah, like, are you buying those health nourishing foods, those power foods for yourself? Have you invested in a trainer or a program that's going to keep you accountable for your daily movement? You know, I invested in an organic mattress recently because I'm heavily investing in improving my sleep. So, you know, I had to go to the store and, you know, I made the purchase. So that was time and money.
Yeah.
Mhm.
How is that organic mattress working out for you?
It's nice, Lisa.
I remember speaking to you that weekend, I think.
Right?
Very nice, very nice. So, um, you know, I think we're really not going into all of the parts of the book. We're really just touching on the surface of it. And once with the body, now there's this, the fifth part of the book where you're talking about the allowing or the being a good recipient of the flow. So again, this is her book, Your Healthy Success. We're just doing a quick recap of it because it does capture all of the really fundamental principles of doing well. And so being healthy and being successful, success, I think to both you and I, is abundance, not just the health part of it, but also the abundance of time and money to be able to go shopping for these things and to buy these things. There is a correlation to that. So let's talk a little bit about the allowing of the flow.
Yeah, so important. You know, if we only were doing the mechanical action, it's a very kind of a masculine energy, and there's masculine and feminine in both. Uh, in all of us, whether you're a man or a woman or identify as, you know, either. And it's knowing how to work with the different energies. So there's going to be a time when you kick into more of that active yang energy versus the more restful yin energy. So actually, when I think of sleep and resting, just taking breaks during the day, making sure you incorporate rest every day, and then, you know, you probably have 1 or 2 days a week where you rest and do rejuvenating things, and then of course there's like actual vacations, right? um I'm always thinking of, because I'm an entrepreneur, a business owner, I'm always thinking of return on investment, right? And so sleep and rest, like I've booked myself at the spa, and that, like, I know that's an investment that's going to pay many times over, right? No matter what I spend there, I'm just going to make it back and earn it back financially, but also energy wise, right? Like, we get to spend time with our daughters and be present and not like feel like we're crazy, whatever, stressed out moms, but just like that we're able to be present. So abundance is in all forms. And so the rest and enjoying the process, allowing is important. So these are more feminine concepts, right? So um, the opportunity is in the giving, right? This is you giving something good, you being of service. And then you also want to be a good receiver. You want to be a good giver. You also want to receive. It's two sides to the same coin. Like I'll often talk about, a lot of people come to me like specifically for abundance, but this will be good with health too. It's the idea of circulation, the law of circulation. So as you give, you receive. So I get people to imagine like a garden hose, and there's like really great energy and water flowing through it. So on one end of the hose, let's say the top is the giving side, and then on the bottom it's the receiving side. Well, if you pinch one side off, let's say you pinch off the giving side, well, that's going to cause stagnation in the whole system, in the whole flow.
Right.
So if you're pinching yourself off from really giving, let's say giving of yourself, right? Like making that committed decision, really stepping into the light, really declaring, yes, this is your new life and your new self-image, and you're holding yourself back from that, or holding yourself back from the activity, well, then you're going to hold yourself back from the receiving of the good effects of that
Right.
giving, right? And so, and vice versa. A lot of people tend to say that they're givers, but they're like, oh no, I can't receive, right? They can't accept gifts of kindness and good and opportunity and money and abundance. So then they close off the receiving side. So then what does that do? Like if someone wants to maybe pay you a few nice words, like pay you a compliment, and you're like, oh no, you're not going to receive it, then you're depriving them of the gift of giving to you, right? So we want to be open channels of giving and receiving. And so yes, you're gonna step up, you're gonna do the inspired actions, right? The mechanical infused with the spirit of it. And also you want to create that space and do it from that relaxed place of flow and ease, and just receiving the insights, the intuition, the good, the nudges, the breath, like just breathing. Like
Yeah.
if you think of like the oxygen is circulated through our blood, like we're all part of all these systems in our body are systems that are, we cycle through seasons. So it's circulation. We're part of nature. Nature is a part of us. So it's important to have that receiving the good. You can ask for it, and then your job is also to receive the good.
Correct. Correct. I think for a lot of, I'm going to say women, and particularly mothers, we're always at the bottom of the list. And when that self-care prioritizes itself, it really is magical
Mhm.
what will flow. Um, so thank you for summarizing a lot of the highlights. I will be digging into each of these. I think you call them power disciplines again,
Mhm.
um, in future episodes. You did a great job putting it all together, and my understanding is you have developed an actual program called Your
Mhm.
Healthy Success. So do you want to talk to us a little bit about that and what it looks like, and what the structure is and what people can expect from it? Um, Nana and I haven't worked out anything yet. I really am supporting this because I think in this time of pandemic status, the one thing where her and I really believe and agree on is that wellness can spread just like illness. And so, with her background and her understanding of the medical, she's one person that I feel would be able to speak to this, and has the resources already ready for you to get a jump start if this is where you feel um, your next best step will be for your health. So Nana, please, without further ado, tell us a little bit about your Healthy Success program and what listeners can do to find out more and potentially sign up.
Sure. So basically, it is the program that goes with the book. So the book itself is available on Amazon, right? You can get it anytime. And the program itself is meant to be the implementation program, right? Because for me, it would be a tragedy if you just read about these ideas, maybe watched, a few of my videos here and there, and then just put it on the shelf, right? Like, that would be a major tragedy. What I would love to celebrate with you is actually you embodying and living with these principles, applying them, because it's in the application. That's where you grow. That's where, it all happens. And so whatever your purpose is, whatever your beautiful vision is for your life, you start with that. And then we want to bring it to life so that every single day you have some daily power disciplines that are going to get you there. So you're implementing and you're consistent with the growth, right? So it's not just like a start and stop thing. It's not like I don't know, it's the time of the year and this is what we're going to resolve to do. This is you designing your life deliberately and really making it happen, really bringing it to life. So I follow the order of the book. I realized I don't have to reinvent the wheel. This book, is a really good form to it. So I'm just going to go with that. And again, you guys, it was the craziest thing. I'm pretty much I've finalized the edits. And so, there are a series of, I think I did 40 videos, and they're really concise, right? So, and organized in a really logical way, like with the book. So that's going to all be available to any clients who hop on in their academy. So they'll have access to that 24/7. And then I'm going to be helping people who choose to join me in this component of it with the implementation of it, because it's not enough to just consume it and take it in at the intellectual conscious level. We want to get it into the subconscious part of us, right, where the deep mindset patterns and programming happens. So you're going to get to choose what new program you live by, and I'm going to show you exactly how to get it in there. So that's basically it, and it'll set you up for, it's not just for the duration of the program, but you're going to have tools in this that'll serve you for the rest of your life.
So this is what I heard. So just to be clear,
Yeah.
you've got a bunch of online resources
Mm-hmm.
plus the book, and then the program itself is designed to actually implement what is written in the book.
Yeah.
So talk to us about what that program looks like. I heard accountability and things that you said before. So in addition to the online, is it all online? Is it self-study? Talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so there's a component where our clients are working through the materials, in an independent way, right? So you can pace it however way you want. And then when we meet a few times a month, that's where, I'll be online with you and helping you to actually implement the principles. Because you might think, okay, well, this is great. This sounds like a good idea, yet I'm facing this. This is coming up for me. So we'll workshop that piece
Right.
for you, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I think that's brilliant also. I think as whether it's a consultant or a coach or a mentor, we play very many different roles to make sure that people feel supported and in reaching their goals in the best way possible, and encouraging the stretch, right? Encouraging the stretch. So at the end of this episode, we're going to have information on how to reach Nana directly. And if you're interested in finding out more about her program and working with her, again, the book is available on Amazon and she's available online, nanajokura.com. We'll put all the spelling and everything so that there's something there. Is there anything that you want to leave with listeners? Again, really talking about your healthy success and the one nugget that you might want to give them until next time, because I'd love to have you back again.
For sure. Oh, the one nugget. Well, I would say that we want to operate from the inside out. We've got to be merging the inner and the outer work. So, most people out there operate from the outside in. They let their symptoms or the weight or the lack of money or whatever, something on the outside affect them on the inside. And what we want to do is flip it and reverse it. So that's a very simple concept, but to actually embody it and start living that way is a whole other process. So in terms of connecting, there's a free Facebook group, Your Healthy Success. So that's a resource for our community. And then, to get in touch, for sure, they can get the book on Amazon. And then if they really resonate, I would just encourage them to jump into the program. Yeah.
Well, it sounds like you also have a plethora of resources in between the book and the program. And again, it's available online. We're definitely going to let the listeners know where to find it. So I think with that, Nana, thank you so much for sharing yourself. Thank you for sharing, the parts of the book and really the highlights of what is relevant for right now in today's current climate. So thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. Thank you so much for having me. It's such a pleasure. Mm-hmm.
Okay, thanks everybody for joining us. Until next time, this is Liza Magcale with Nana Jokura. Have a great one. Bye.